Hello, everyone. Wow. Welcome back to the Faeine and Sat Show, real estate chat with Faeine and
Yeah.
Sat. We are on episode 8. Woo!
Episode 8.
Yeah,
Woo!
I know, right?
Whoa.
We're just
That
plowing through them.
for some reason that sounds like infinity.
I know, right? Wait till we get to like episode 300. We'll be like, oh my gosh.
Remember when we first started, we were like, we'll try one or two and see how it goes. And now
Just
we
see
are on
how it
number
goes.
8.
Yeah, yeah. But
That's
I
good.
think slowly we're getting better, and it's starting to come into fruition. And yeah, we're both really enjoying it. So thanks everybody for coming along in this journey with us.
Yeah. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. We want this work that we do will be so fruitless if we do not have you on the other end, the end user of these talks, and somebody who's actually benefiting from them. I always say there are three things that motivate me in real estate. One is money, and second is money, and third one is people that we get to impact and people that we get to kind of empower along the way,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Very
So
fulfilling.
as much as real estate is kind of money-driven industry, it's
Mhm.
very fulfilling to have you on the other end and being part of these podcasts with us.
So, Sat, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're gonna talk about the subjects of how to prepare yourself for real estate venture.
How to prepare yourself. Yes, exactly. And we're just going to start and say right off the bat that just getting pre-approved for your financing, that is like scratching the surface of all of the things that
Not even.
exactly it's just scratching the surface, right? Like, yes,
Yeah,
of course you have to get pre-approved, like that goes without saying.
yeah,
But there's a lot more that people need to think about, right?
absolutely. What I have found in my experience, and we've led multiple families, many families, through real estate deal over the years, hundreds of deals, hundreds of families buying, selling homes. Is number one cause of stress in a real estate is an unprepared client.
Oh yeah, for the client and for us.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to put up with it.
Yeah.
So the better, but the better job we do upfront,
Yes.
educating and preparing our clients, obviously, the less we go through. But whenever we meet a roadblock, a resistance point, somewhere where stress gets very high, well, and it's not necessarily our fault per se. It's whatever happened in the market and client got stressed over something that happened in the real estate deal.
Yeah.
It might be totally normal course of the deal. It's not client's fault or our fault. But the fact that client couldn't handle that change or handle that little bump, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
sends them into this stress zone. That's almost undescribable. Like to the point where people get into tears. They can't sleep at night. They're constantly worrying, and they start making funky decisions because lots of time people are not necessarily. I mean, most of the time people are very nice to us and each other as a couple. But whenever that stress goes high, niceness goes out of the window. Now couples are fighting. They're still nice to us, but they're fighting among themselves. That kind of thing happen. We've seen that happening a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but the number one cause of that stress is that whatever that little bump happened, a client wasn't prepared for that.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, it is 100% up to us to really cover, all of the preparation phases. And and it took me a long time to master this skill in my
Mm,
business.
mm,
And a lot of it was through trial and error.
hmm.
And yeah, so 15 years in, I've definitely, I mean, we're learning every day, of
Hmm.
course,
Hmm.
but I've definitely got some main key points that I always talk to every single client about.
Yeah,
And that is a non negotiable every single time. However,
absolutely.
we can always plan and talk, we can always try and predict the what if situations. Part of what keeps us on our toes, though, and what makes real estate so exciting, like, for lack of a better term, is that we can't predict everything. There's always going to be
Yeah,
stuff that throws us off, or stuff that, is going to surprise us. And as much as I say, hey, we don't like surprises in real estate, we can't always control what happens externally. So my firm belief is that if we are confident in 99% of the other areas, these little hiccups that come along the way will be a lot more easily overcome,
hmm
because we've got the rest of that foundation in place.
Absolutely, 100%. And as Fain has mentioned, she like I'm sure you guys already know this. Fain's a master
Mhm.
at educating clients. I've seen her work. She is absolutely, I don't know, maybe it's her zen, maybe it's her aura, that puts
Aw.
clients at ease and makes it. No, no, you seriously do this, Tofan. I've seen your clients, even some of the most difficult clients. Because remember, we have both worked with those same clients.
That's right. Yep.
In many cases, as when we are kind of collaborating and partnering up,
Yep.
um, for some reason you have this uncanny ability to kind of take them through, which I think is fantastic.
Aw.
Um, for myself, I have to take a little different approach on that. I have developed a system. I called it roadmap and game planning appointment. Okay.
Yes, I love that.
Sometimes I call it listening appointment to clients. So basically the idea is, hey, before we go see the property, let me invite you over for lunch or coffee.
Hmm.
Let's sit down and chit chat. Most people sometimes are so excited to go see the property, they're not really necessarily excited to sit down for a cup of coffee. And
Totally.
then I bribe him for some with samosas and butter chicken. That butter chicken wins every single time. They're
Those are
willing. They're not
mimosas,
right to, yeah,
right?
they're not right to sit with me for a real estate chat, but butter chicken, oh, that's all day long. Let's sit down for that.
I
Right?
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That is so
But
awesome.
the point is the reason we do that is because we need to listen to you. We need to understand what you're trying to do. Because there is no shortage of professionals in the market, and I'm not putting anyone under the bus. I'm just saying as a general, there is no shortage of professionals who are more or less of order takers. Okay, you tell them, hey, I want to buy. They go, okay, let's go help you buy a place.
Yeah,
I have to sell my place. I want to buy before, and then I'm going to sell. Okay, let's help you do that. They don't want to say anything that's contradiction to what you tell them from the fear of losing you as a client.
exactly. And then,
And
if things don't go their way.
yeah, then you as a client are not in this industry. You're not an expert of this.
Mhm.
That's why you're hiring an expert. Hopefully, they are doing an expert's job. I
Yeah.
think I think number one job your expert should do is think things
Mhm.
through for you and be able to guide you and prepare you for that journey that you're about to have and kind of course correct you a little bit where
Mhm.
you might have step A in front of step or steps D in front of step A. Somebody need a little bit of courage to kind of say, hey, let's do A first and then B and C and then we'll get to D.
Yeah.
And that's the type of preparation you would need. And we're going to dive into some of these subjects that I think will be that you might appreciate hearing about.
Yeah. I
Finn,
totally
what?
agree.
Yeah, why don't you go for the first one, Finn? You break the ice this time.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think definitely getting the pre-approval done, but also going one step farther and just really taking a deep dive into the potential unexpected costs.
Hmm.
And yes, you've got the pre-approval, but what funds do you have available, like readily available liquid assets that you're able to kind of set aside for example, deposits on your purchase if you're purchasing right away? That's something we would talk about. A mortgage penalty, if you're breaking your mortgage and then there's a penalty, you have to take that into consideration. If you're doing an inspection, property transfer tax, there's so many things that you know there's so many costs that could be entailed with your closing. And so if you don't know exactly what your goals are and what you plan to do and what your timeline is,
hmm
and all of those relevant details, then it's hard for us to be able to really kind of give you the full picture on what kind of closing costs you'd expect. So
That's
yeah, I
strange.
would definitely say the closing cost conversation is one of the first ones that I do like to have.
Yeah. As you may or may not be aware, I'm a dual licensed agent. I do mortgage brokering as well as real estate. So I handle both sides. Not for the exact same clients, but one client I might be handling mortgage side, other one I would be handling the real estate side to keep kind of everything in legal check and so
That's
forth.
so awesome. I love
Uh,
that. I love
but but
that.
one of the things that I have noticed, one of the most unprepared area, Fane, when it talks to these costs that you talked about
Yep.
for people is their down payment. You know,
Really?
they have parents, let's say as an example, they have parents who are willing to give these kids down payment, okay, as an example, or part of down payment.
Yeah.
But parents' money is coming from, in my culture, it happens a lot, comes from India, right? Because they
Oh,
sort of
yes.
farm there. Well, most people have no clue that before they can use that money need to be in a Canadian bank account for 90 days.
That's right. It does. Yep.
Even if your parents are gifting it to you, it still need to be in there for 90 days.
Yep.
If you are getting a gift, if you are doing wherever that money is coming from, whether you're gathering it from friends, you're getting an inheritance, you are selling something out somewhere else and bringing it over,
Yep.
that money need to be seen, need to have a trail of 90 days in Canadian bank account. That's because of anti-money laundering, federal anti-money laundering laws.
Yeah, I was
Now,
just gonna say.
lots of people don't know that, and they're not prepared for those 90 days lag. So they go into property saying, "Yeah, I have down payment, I have down payment," and because they're counting on this money, and surprise, surprise, they can't use that money for 90 days, and now they don't have the down payment.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's an absolute relevant conversation to have for sure.
Yeah, where your down payment is coming from, make sure you're prepared on that. I want to talk about, as because we are on this subject of money, I want to talk about kind of a little bit about how pre-approval works and then how it can change on you. Okay, so you need to be very careful with this.
Yeah.
Um, lot of time when you go to the mortgage market, and I'm speaking as a mortgage broker right now,
Yes,
uh,
mortgage broker.
mortgage broker hat on me. Um, you're gonna have people tell you you have pre-approved. That's a conversation that I hear all the time.
Hmm.
Here is what I want you to be very careful with if someone tells you you are pre-approved. You are not pre-approved for anything. You might be pre-qualified based on your income, based on your credit, based on down payment you have. You might be qualified to get certain amount of mortgage, but that is not an approval. A lot of time people think that, oh, I went to my banker, they told me I'm pre-approved for this much.
Oh,
And I want to touch, pardon me?
I said, right? Okay, so I think we need to just like repeat that because somebody getting the, oh, I have been pre-qualified. Yes, I can go write an offer.
Exactly.
Like that's huge. They think that they're good to go, but no, that's not the case. So
That's not the
the
case.
pre-approval versus pre-qualification are two totally
Two
different
totally
things.
different things. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
totally different.
unfortunately, what I also see is that lots of professionals are doing a poor job of it.
Yeah,
It's not really as much as the client, it's us professionals
yeah.
telling people they're pre-approved. If
That's
I go
right.
to bank, I say, oh yeah, you're pre-approved up to 400 thou, right? That
Mhm.
I'm thinking 400 thou, but they said pre-approved up to,
Right.
right? So that
Yeah.
means that's may not be exact 400 thou, and I'm sharing this from experience, guys.
Yeah. And just
So sorry if I can make one quick share
yeah,
one quick idea here.
yeah.
Um, whenever you're going to get an approval, there are five boxes that it need to check. It need to check your credit, it need to check your income, it need to take in consideration your current debt, your liabilities, what you're paying. It need to take into consideration your down payment, and
Mhm.
last one left is what property you're buying. And you could have all these fours perfectly fine, but if this doesn't qualify, the property doesn't qualify, bank will not give you money.
That's exactly right. Yep.
So bank will not know which property you're gonna buy when you're gone to the bank before you even have a looked at that property.
Yeah.
So because that fifth piece is missing, there is no pre-qualification. Sorry, there is no pre-approval at all,
100%. Yeah,
right?
because the lender is going to want to look at the property itself and very likely will also want a third party appraisal.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen this number of times when properties I've listed. Thankfully, I understand mortgages, so I'm in this bit of a benefit of preparing my clients financially a little better than I guess some other professionals out there.
yeah.
But the properties I list, I see these deals coming in all the time. Oh, my client is pre-approved for financing. I'm like, how is he pre-approved? And
Mhm.
even the professionals don't know the difference between a pre-qualification and pre-approval, and they don't even understand all the five pieces that need to come together. If
Yeah,
either one of those five pieces is missing, like if your credit is levered poor, okay, there are substitutes for that, like lender A lender, B lender, etc.
yeah.
If your income is levered lower, maybe there is substitution for that. But if your property doesn't qualify, there is
Mhm.
no substitution for that
Mhm.
at all, because property is what property is. Either it qualifies or it doesn't.
Yeah,
You can't inflate its value, you can't do anything to the property. So therefore,
yeah.
right? So therefore, whenever you're going out there in the market, understand the difference between pre-qualified and pre-approval,
Mhm.
and always keep in mind, always prepare yourself for this, that at the end you may do everything right, like Fain said, at the very one of the very last steps before bank gives you the money, they ask for this third party appraisal that Fain just mentioned.
Yeah,
And if that appraisal is less than property value that they've been kind of determining or they've been kind of using to give you that pre-qualification, quote unquote,
yeah, yeah.
if those numbers don't match, there is no, this might jeopardize the whole approval, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Or, or sorry, one last thing on this,
Yeah,
and I know I'm going off the rant here.
yeah.
Or sometimes if let's say your property is being pre-qualified or the numbers you're using is let's say $1 million and an appraisal happen, an appraisal comes out at $850,000. There is $150,000 gap
Right.
between what the kind of the expected value and the actual value of the property. So bank may still come, okay, we'll give you an approval, but this $150,000 gap you need
Mhm.
to cover with down
Okay.
payment,
So they need to come up with another. So what you're
another
saying,
150
come up with another 150,000 to make up for that
to
difference
make
then.
that work. Exactly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So would you have that difference laying around somewhere,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And
right?
another thing too is when you're, what I have seen as well is once, you know, yes, you can fill out the application and you can do your credit check, but once you start handing in all of your documents, such as, your taxes, guys, you have to do your taxes in order to be able to qualify. Like the saying.
Surprise,
So,
surprise.
right? You have to have a job. Most of the time, when I've seen this before, is if you're on probation or if you haven't been at your job for very long, that could cause an issue, even if you're making great money. If you don't have the
Yeah,
history with this employer, that could maybe jeopardize your qualification abilities. Um, I've
absolutely.
had I've had also somebody calculate like they've said what their annual income is, but 25% of that was overtime technically, and so it's not guaranteed money, so their annual income can't be qualified as like how much they brought in last year because
Absolutely.
25% of that is, it's not a guarantee. So there's so many things that can go, I don't want to say sideways, but there's so many topics of conversation that come after that pre-approval, or that quote unquote, okay, you're good to go, that application.
Yeah,
Yeah, you really, I mean, yeah, okay, so we've talked a lot about the pre-qualification and pre-approval here, but it's such an important part of it. um, and yeah, it's something that way too many realtors, buyers, and other mortgage professionals and specialists, they don't really communicate that.
yeah.
And there's a lot of
It's
uneducated people about,
yeah,
about how that works.
yeah. It's unfortunately the missing piece of
Yep.
and I take it as more or less of a responsibility of a professional who need to prepare clients through that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Lots of professionals don't necessarily understand this other part of the business. So it's hard for them to prepare.
For sure, for sure. Um, the other thing, or sorry, the next topic that I wanted to discuss with you is creating a roadmap. Now, you mentioned this early on in the episode, but I think really just making sure that we have a roadmap discussed and mapped out based on what the client's goals are. Um, kind of putting that together so the client can see, okay, we're in spot A, we want to get to spot B, and this is how we're going to get there. This is our strategy. This is our plan A, B, and C. Because
Hmm.
there's so many different variables. Everybody's situation is so unique, and also the market is changing all the time. So, I mean, if we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, that's definitely going to change the way we're going to do things. If, we've got a ton of criteria and there's not a lot to choose from, well, then that's a different strategy that we have to take. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's definitely something that, yeah, creating a really detailed roadmap so that the client has a really good understanding of how we're going to get there.
Absolutely. One of the things we love to talk in our roadmap and game planning sessions, Fain, is the what if factors.
Mm,
Do you know how many times clients come up to us, and again, we as professionals do a poor job of it because almost every professional's ad out there, I say, I'll help you find your dream home. I'll help you sell your home dollar for most dollars the
yeah,
quickest possible, right? That's just the marketing push that's out there. So no wonder clients are expecting that because that's all they see, right? They're kind of almost subconsciously trained to see that. But
yeah,
one of the things we will highly encourage you to it of that roadmap and game planning we like to do is what if? Hey, I know you wanted to have this 4 bedroom, 3 bath, beautiful home. What if that's not available? What is our second choice?
yes, yeah,
Right? Having that flexibility in your roadmap and in your game plan is absolutely one of the ways to prepare and have flexibility on multiple areas, right? One of the things my mentor taught me, he goes, one of the strengths in real estate is speed, how fast you can move on things when opportunities are there.
yeah,
But other is flexibility. How flexible can you be? More flexible you can be on things, the more you can negotiate.
yes.
And flexibility takes preparation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, let's say that again, flexibility helps you in negotiation.
Yeah, yeah. And
Flexible you
even
can be, whether it be dates or, whatever the case may be, the more flexibility you can use everything in
yeah,
negotiations.
yeah. Flexibility is a muscle.
It's
It's
yes,
it's
I
it's,
love
it's a
that.
powerful muscle. It's a powerful
Yes,
muscle you can use.
it
Yeah.
is for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk as a next step. I want to talk about something very basic, okay? And Fane already touched on it. That is getting your paperwork in order.
Yes.
You would have no idea. Again, I'm speaking as a mortgage broker experience. As a
Hmm.
mortgage broker, how much paperwork your bank's going to ask you for? As an example, they're going to ask you for your 2 years of taxes.
Hmm.
If you have any sort of commitment to any dependents outside, like if you're on your second marriage,
Mm.
you're paying out your family maintenance over there, they're going to need that. If you owe money to government, they're going to need those statements. If you have any debt, like credit cards, line of credit, student loans, they're going to need those statements.
Hmm.
Where your down payment is, they're going to need those statements, where that down payment came from. They need those proper down statements, kind of trailing that.
Yeah.
They're going to need your employment. They're going to need a letter of employment. They're going to
Yeah.
need your pay stubs. Then beyond that, they're going to need lots of papers for the property that you're purchasing.
Hmm.
Then they're going to talk, then there are, if you are getting some money from somebody, they want gift letters with that now. And if there are two of you buying the property, they need it for both parties,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
right? If there
True.
are three of you, they need it for all three of you,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So what happens is I've seen so many times people get into real estate, they deal, they're like they're pre-qualified, but they think they're pre-approved, and all of a sudden they write a deal on it. And now they go back to their mortgage broker who told them they're pre-qualified. Here, we bought this property. You said $800,000. We kept it under 800,000. We kept it at 775. Yay, us. And then this professional starts asking them for the paperwork and they can't supply the paperwork.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
no paperwork, no approval.
Then you can't remove your subjects in time. You're asking for extensions. Then, the whole timeline gets messed up. Sellers get angry. There's so many things.
Yeah, yeah.
So the moral of this one
Because
is have your documents in a row.
absolutely. And if you are not sure, I just added a lots of documents and they were just few on top of my head. There are more.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
right, there's more than that. So
yeah.
we have a list of paperwork that I've pre-designed a PDF. Um, Depending on how you making your income, whether it is self-employment income, business income, retirement income, or paycheck income, your set of documents is going to be different. Um, and the length of those documents is going to be different as well. Some
Yeah.
documents are good enough for last 2 weeks. Other type of income you need to prove for the last 2 years, as an example. So you need to know what documents you will need and make sure you have proper, verifiable, genuine documents on hand. Because even if everything else is right and you're missing one document, and that is enough to jeopardize the entire deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
be prepared with your paperwork.
you're kind of at the mercy of the lender and what they ask for, right? And I
Absolutely.
find that, even after an application has been submitted and you're partway there, you're getting your inspection done, you're almost there, and then all of a sudden, the mortgage broker calls and says, "Oh, the lender needs such and such and such." And sometimes again, these things come unexpectedly, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to, okay, this is what they need.
Yeah,
Let's do whatever it takes in order to get what they want so we can get this through, right?
absolutely. So
Yeah.
again, as a mortgage broker, I'll kind of remove the curtain, give you guys a little inside secret here.
Yes,
When
please do.
even if lender has given you an approval and they've given you something called commitment letter,
Hmm.
which you have signed and sent back, between the commitment letter signing and funding of the deal is usually a month or
Okay.
whatever time when your closing is.
Yeah.
So, but lender does all their documentation verification after you have signed the commitment letter because they don't
Oh,
want to take their time going through all your documents before you're committed to what they're willing to offer you. If
yeah.
you're not committed to willing to if you're not willing to commit, they don't want to take their time and kind of put an employee for half a day trying to verify all your docs and you're not even committed to what they're offering you.
Yeah.
So they
Makes
want to
sense.
see they want to see the commitment letter first. So
Hmm.
you send them the commitment letter, and that's where a lot of people think, oh, they gave me a commitment letter, I signed it. Still, it doesn't mean you are approved.
Hmm.
They're going to verify the documentation between commitment letter and funding. And if a document is missing or does not make sense or does not align with what has been said in the application or how your file was set up,
Yeah.
entire deal is done. You're not moving forward. Bank can
Here.
pull back that commitment that they just gave you anytime before funding.
Wow.
There is nothing stopping them, and they will take it off because they don't want to risk anything.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
even if it is something as small as you're not meeting with an anti-money laundry laws,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is right, which is not necessarily any paperwork. It's just one little thing that you're not qualifying for,
Yep.
and they're not checking that box. They won't fund you. 'Cause
Clear as mud, isn't it?
for me, yeah, I know it's all clear as mud. That's why this preparation part is so important, and you need
Yeah.
to, and that's part of the reason why I became a mortgage broker, Fane, because when I first started a real estate career, I saw so many deals going sideways and clients being so frustrated,
Yeah. I
literally
bet.
in tears, because
Oh,
they fall in love with these properties
yeah.
and on the sellers being frustrated because buyers are coming in without all this knowledge and information and preparation and deals are not going through. It's not a pretty picture. So that's why I decided to go into mortgage brokering alongside real estate so I understand that area well and can guide our clients through a little better.
Yeah, well, and you can see things from both perspectives, right? So you can anticipate
Exactly.
issues and financial health. Like, no, I think that's just great. I think it's amazing that you have the dual license.
Thank
Um,
you.
Now, my last point that I like to bring up is distinguishing and identifying your wants versus your needs, because
Hmm.
those are two different things, and really short list your non negotiables.
Hmm.
So, obviously, the more criteria parameters you have, the more filters that need to be put in your search, and fewer and fewer properties come in the list of potentials. But if you take the time to kind of really distinguish and identify, and sometimes people just need to actually see it on paper. Some people have Excel spreadsheets, Google spreadsheets, whatever, but they need to just identify it. So sometimes we can refer back to it later and say, okay,
Hmm.
this meets what you said were your wants, your needs, and your non-negotiables.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think really kind of painting that picture beforehand, it streamlines the I mean, I want to say like property pre-qualification. Like if I'm looking for properties and the client's looking for properties, they'll give me an address and I'll say, well, wait a second, you said that you didn't want, XYZ feature on the house. So I already know that that's going to be a non-negotiable. That's going to be a no-go for you because it's on your
Hmm.
non-negotiables list.
That's very smart, actually. That's a very smart thing to do. I'm going to adapt that too. Is what are your non-negotiables?
Yeah.
I generally ask people to be, when it comes to property selections, kind of be general as you possibly can, to just to keep that flexibility. But to Fane's point, having a couple of non-negotiables, things that you won't budge for,
Mhm.
and knowing them is absolutely the key,
Yeah.
to know that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
My last point that I want to share on this is comes from my experience of coaching and mentoring and leading our clients. As you may have already noticed, between Fain and I, we don't just sell real estate. We feel that anyone can list your house. Anyone can fill a form for you to put an offer together. That's third grade stuff in a way, in real estate language. Basic, most
Right. Like
basic, right?
bare minimum basic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's your ability to build a relationships, foresee situations that come up.
Mhm.
But one of the key ability that I've worked very hard to develop, and I've noticed the need of that, was coaching and mentoring and leading multiple clients, because you are not necessarily leading just
Oh.
your client, you're leading the other client and their realtor, especially if they're not doing that good of a job. So you're leading multiple people for a good, purposeful outcome. But
Mhm.
one of the things I've seen in that work, this whole build up to tell you where I'm going here, uh, but one of the things I've seen in that work is so many people do not get themselves emotionally ready for this next real estate venture.
Mm.
They think they're ready,
Yeah.
but they're not ready.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Emotional readiness is not about you just kind of deciding to buy a house. Emotional readiness is, if you put an offer on the house, um, and that doesn't come your way, doesn't happen your way, would you be able to take that hit a little bit because you fell in love with it, or you're gonna be like a broken heart after your first girlfriend left you? You know, you know, like I'm trying to make the light of situation, right?
So true.
Most people, here's a common example I give to my clients in there. I say, let's say you walk into Best Buy,
Hmm.
and you have a TV that you're looking to buy, and you absolutely love that TV, absolutely love it, right? And but there is another TV just as good, just as beautiful, and you absolutely love that as well.
Hmm.
Okay, but this TV B is $300 cheaper than TV A. Would you like to save $300? And most people say, yeah, I'd love to save $300, right?
Hmm.
But then those same people come to real estate and they fall in love with these two homes, or they look at two potential homes. One home is 20,000 cheaper, another one is not. and sometimes they're stuck on one way or the other.
Mm,
Same client that will not give away $300 at Best Buy is willing to give 10 to 20,000 extra in one property over the other,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Now, why is that? Because you do not know how to manage your emotions. You got tied into something like that. You got tired. Real estate process can be long. When you start your process, you don't know what you're gonna get, how it's gonna come through, when you're gonna move, where you're gonna move. There are all these uncertainties, and if you don't
Yeah.
know how to manage that uncertainty of that period, it drives you nuts. And
Absolutely. Yep.
right,
And
and
I
when
will say, especially if you have kids, like if you're
yeah,
a busy person, you have kids, or say you've been living in the house for 20 years,
yeah,
there's a lot of
ooh,
memories and a lot of
a lot of
stuff,
memory.
probably a lot of clutter that you're going to have to push through. Or it's your family home and your parents have downsized and,
Yeah,
you have all of your stuff that you grew up in
yeah.
your bedroom from when you were a kid. Like there's so many
All
different
these
things
things are there. Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that
Or
come up.
or or you thought you'd be able to get certain things done with this house and its equity and didn't come through. Some
Uh,
surprise came in,
yes.
right? You need to be emotionally ready for all these
Yeah.
things. And again, the way you get emotionally ready for that is what Fain said earlier, roadmap and game plan.
Hmm.
Go through what's your non-negotiable. Go through what if scenarios. If this happens, how am I going to handle this?
Yeah.
And be prepared for those what if scenarios. It's sort of like one of my coach have always said. He said you got to prepare for the war and pray for peace.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Right?
It's such a great way
It's
of saying it.
it's
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
literally true. You may not need it all,
Yeah.
but in the moment you need it, if you're not prepared for it,
Yeah.
it could jeopardize your entire venture.
Yeah. Prepare for the worst, but just have a goal, but also you have to be prepared. And I also think just on the topic of being emotionally ready, I think also when you're a seller and you have to be emotionally ready for maybe a little negative feedback on your house.
Yes?
Not
Yeah.
everybody's going to like the color paint you have. Not everybody's going to like the layout. Not everybody's going to
What?
like this, that, the other. It's nothing against you as a person. It's just people don't like it.
Wayne, how do
Right?
you mean? What about that room that I painted for my wife with one wall green, one blue, one purple, another one white?
Right?
Like
Yeah.
nobody would love that idea?
It's shocking, right? Shocking. Or I have two boys and the classic, not to get all down that route, but say if there's like a Barbie or like a bubblegum pink bedroom, well, none of my two boys, they'd be like, that's not my room, no. And that's a very that's a very distinguished example, but it's the same kind of thing. Like, people may not like a certain layout, whether that be the stairs facing the door or having it as basement entry, or maybe it's not as clean as they would like.
Mhm.
Maybe it smells like cats. Maybe the person's allergic to cats. Who knows? Like,
Absolutely.
find the weirdest things to not like. Um,
Absolutely.
but you have to just be prepared that, like, hey, it's nothing against you as a person. They still,
Mhm.
Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you guys are great. But yeah, just being able to kind of like take that feedback and then just deflect it
Yeah, absolutely.
onto the next.
And yeah, and I also wanted to just make this one last point on that emotional readiness. I think between
Yeah,
your relationships, it's so important to be emotionally ready and
yeah.
understand how each other work. One of the things I've learned is men think like in waffles. Women think like a spaghetti. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm
Guys
intrigued.
are usually in one box. Like this time, this week, we are preparing our home for listing, painting. Wife might be, yeah, we are preparing where kids gonna go to school, how I'm gonna go to grocery shop, how mom and dad will work with that. So she's connecting all these seven dots, and guys saying we just need to focus on painting this week. right?
Right.
And she is usually frustrated why he's not seeing through or thinking through.
Yeah.
And he is frustrated because she's just all over the place in his mind.
Yeah.
And that type of thing, and that's not just between husband and wife, that's usually between your kids. If one kid is a little bit more introvert over the other, they may not speak it, they may not fully communicate it, but they are going through the stress of that uncertainty. And then everybody reacts differently um, under stress than they do normally,
Absolutely.
right? And that
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
that and that and that, that usually can bring some arguments, maybe some small little things you don't like. Now there's kind of silent treatments,
Yeah.
and then they say this selling this house is so stressful. Real estate is so stressful. It's not real estate. It's you not being emotionally ready for that. That's you,
Totally.
not real estate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow, didn't mean to be harsh on you, but just gotta
No,
tell you guys the truth.
I get it. I get it. And like, and it's so true because even, when we had our place for sale, I was like, okay, I gotta make sure that the kids are at school. I gotta make sure that the kids are either at school or in the car. Gotta make sure the dog's in the dog crate that was in the garage that we had to take in and out every single time because we didn't have a driveway that we could park on. So like there was a whole lot of coordination that went along with just a simple showing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and my husband Marty was just like, okay, it's painted, those holes are filled. Good luck.
Good luck, exactly. Isn't that funny how much we,
No, you know?
yeah, how much is it just totally amazes me sometimes how much we kind of even in the littlest time span we are with people and family, how much we see and how much we observe and get to know people.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
guys, our goal is that bring the best from what happens out there. I know you could read these blogs and you can read all these different type of manuals and stats and all that.
Hmm.
Our goal is to bring that genuine, practical what happens actually
Yeah.
um, in the marketplace in these deals to these type of podcast for you, so you can kind of be, you can be prepared.
And shed some light on it too, right? Like yes, real estate is a very serious thing. Like there's no question about it. There's a lot at stake and we get that. But I think too, like if you can't shed a little light or have a little fun with it at the same time, then your experience is going to be a whole lot darker and a whole lot more like scary, and it's going to be a lot scarier, right? But if we can, kind of shed some light on it and, kind of just normalize these crazy things that happen sometimes, well then, you can, oh yeah, Faeine and Sat, they were laughing about that. Oh, they told me about that. Oh yeah, they mentioned that. Okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So this is not to put you as a client under the bus. This is more or less to
Oh my goodness, no, God, no. We love our client. We love our clients. Like I end up becoming really good friends with most of my clients, right?
yeah,
And I mean, this is a good topic for another episode, but yeah, I mean, when I take on a client as well, like there's certain things that I look for to make sure that they're a good fit for how I work as well. So yeah,
absolutely.
I want to say most of my clients, yeah, we end up becoming really good friends.
Yeah, and there are very few realtors and mortgage brokers out there that do that. Um,
Mm,
Most are very, very kind of business oriented. Like if you need business, we'll take you on board. We'll get the business done, which is fantastic skill to have.
yeah,
I don't know if Fane and I can work like that. I can also speak for myself. We like to kind of handpick our clients a little bit.
yeah.
We wanted to make sure that it is enjoyable for you. We can add value. We can help you,
Hmm.
and we can take you through. But that also means once we committed to you, you've got some of the best people in your corners who are not spread between nine other clients.
Yeah,
There may be one or two deals. Like uh, in my practice, I have a policy of taking no more than three clients at a time,
yeah,
right? And the only reason I do that because we want to pay attention and time to you once we committed to you. So
that's exactly right.
just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I hope that this has been an informative episode for you guys, and I hope that we've been able to shed some light for you on how to prepare. And if you guys ever want to just talk, give us a call, give us a text. We're happy to have these conversations with you, and there's no commitment. There's no
Yeah.
pressure. If you just want to have a chat about, okay, I'm thinking about moving. It's not going to be for a year, but I just want to prepare. Like, we are more than happy to take that time with you. So don't ever feel like, oh, we're not ready yet. No, I don't want to put you out. Or, these are the
Yeah.
types of conversations that we want to have so that we can help prepare no
Prepare.
matter what stage you're at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I always get a chuckle when customers say, well, I'll call you when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And then because there's the whole society, whole profession as ours kind of tells customers this, call me when you're ready. Call me when you're ready. Well, if we're gonna call you when you're ready, it's too late to call you because I've done all the preparation work. That's
Mm,
where my work is gonna be. That's where all the thinking and planning and effort gonna go into.
yeah.
Once I looked at a house, filling a form to buy that house is the easy part.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. There's so much to
Right?
be said for prep work.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks once again, Payne. I appreciate you coming on these podcasts with me.
Oh,
I mean,
thank
I
you.
appreciate you
This
so much.
has been awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
And we appreciate and value our clients. Thank you again for listening.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week.